Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Systane Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Systane Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
Owen Pataki, former Cornell Big Red football player, but now our ambassador to football in Ukraine. Tell us, are they loving American football in Ukraine even amidst a warlike situation?
Hey, gentlemen, I heard you talking about traffic issues. Sorry, we're driving through central Ukraine right now, so the reception's a little spotty. But yeah, they're enthusiastic. They're good at it. They love the sport. It's not as popular as soccer, obviously, like most European countries, but they've got a really enthusiastic league and some pretty great young players coming up through their ranks.
Owen, the Ukrainian guys that play football, are they the same size as the football players in the United States, or are they bigger, stronger?
So they have flag leagues as well as tackle football leagues. The tackle one has been muted since the war for obvious reason. A lot of the guys joined the army. I've met and I know a lot of the tackle guys, and they're definitely as big as your average American football player. They've got some big guys. They've got some skill position guys as well. They're definitely big boys over here. They can definitely throw the pads around. They're not afraid to hit for sure. So yeah, I mean if they went on an NFL or NCAA workout training regimen, I'm pretty sure they could definitely hold their own with the American football players.
Owen, I want to ask you in a second about the fact that, of course, this is an important deal for America financially because the NFL's interest in Europe is well documented. They're going to play even more games in Europe this year. It's a very big deal. But before I do that, because I don't want this to get to only talk about the sports aspect of it, how do you feel that the Ukrainian people feel about the United States now? 4 years into the war with Russia, is there resentment? Is there gratitude? Are you helping via football and other things, helping to keep this relationship going? Because at some point this war is going to end, and we're all going to have to reassess where we are in the world.
Yeah, well, I don't want to speak for the entire country because there's differing opinions depending on where you go, who you talk to. But from the Ukrainians that I've spoken to, they're definitely they love America. They do like us. They appreciate the sport we did give. They appreciate a lot of there's a lot of private sector to their own interest and investment in Ukraine, and there's a lot of morale support from YouTube personalities and American media figures. Like there's still a spotlight on Ukraine from certain parts of American society. So I think Ukrainians, they still like us. They're still grateful and appreciative. I think they'd love to see more engagement from us. I do think there is they do want to hear from us. They do need our support. They do want our support. So I'd say it's a mixed bag in that sense, but they're optimistic. They've been through a lot. I think it's true to say they're tired collectively as a country. They've been through a lot. They've been through 4 years of brutal war. If you live in a city like Kyiv, you're getting bombed or missiles struck most nights, if not every other night. So they are tired and they want the war to end. But I personally haven't seen any resentment towards America or anything like that. But I do think these kind of trips from American groups and from groups like the Pataki Center or the NFL or whoever, I do think they're meaningful. I do think it shapes that soft power and keeps that diplomatic and that human channel between our countries, keeps it open and alive, which is what we want, I think.
Owen, I have a question for you. This is Fernando Mateo. I'm a very good friend of your father's, a very big supporter of Governor Pataki. Aren't you nervous being in Ukraine right now with what's going on? I mean, it takes bravery to actually take a flight and go out there to promote sports or football in this particular case. How do you feel personally? Do you feel safe?
Yeah, I mean, the cities we're in, for the most part, we're avoiding, obviously going anywhere farther to the east or a major city like Kyiv. We just came from Lviv. We're going to Vinnytsia. we're aware of how dangerous it is and how violent some of the last few weeks and months have been. This is my 8th trip to Ukraine since the war started, and this is the Pataki Center's. I've lost count. There's probably upwards of 20 of Pataki Center missions over to Ukraine. So at this point, it's not our first trip. We've been here before, and I think about it, but I think about our Ukrainian friends who live in this. They live in these cities. They live this life, and they can't leave. They're here every day, and so anything bad that happens, they're seeing it, or their families are feeling it, or people they know are hearing the missiles or the drones come into Kyiv or other big cities. So yeah, we're aware of that. It's a dangerous place for sure. I'd be lying if I said we weren't cognizant of it, of the danger. But we're busy here. We're traveling. We're staying to relatively spots as safe as you can be. So we're not scared to be here, but we're definitely aware that we're in a dangerous part of the world for sure.
Owen, it's Judge Richard Weinberg, who's one of your father's admirers and colleagues. I want to commend you and your father for everything you do. I have 2 questions for you. First question is, what motivated you and your father to do this in the first place, to go into a war zone, to do this, to support the people of Ukraine? And the second thing is, what's the sense that you have of the morale of the people after these 4 years of war?
Yeah, well, it's a broad question, and then we could talk about it for a while. I think one of the first things was just how, Ukraine did not ask for this war. Putin and Russia invaded Ukraine, and it was unprovoked and it was unjustified. And I think we just thought that, Ukraine, they want to share our values. They want to be part of a free, democratic, Western world civilization, and Putin wants to keep them under his thumb. And so we just felt like the Ukrainians, they shared our values. They share the vision for the future that we in the free West have and are lucky to take advantage of. And the Ukrainians showed so much bravery. They showed so much willingness to fight, willingness to defend their country. And I tell the Ukrainians, it reminds me of how America started. America started with an imperial power, Great Britain, who didn't want us to exist. They wanted us to stay colonists to the king. And Putin is kind of acting the same way to the Ukrainians. So we see a lot of echoes in Ukraine's struggle for their own independence and liberty, like the American Revolution. So there's a lot that we have in common. And the Ukrainians, like I said, they're tired. I think they're exhausted from war. They definitely feel it, but they're not going to give up. They are very resilient, and they know what they're fighting for. They believe in it. So they're nowhere near ready to surrender or to give up, the country or even lands at this point. They're going to keep fighting, but they are tired. In
a very real sense, what the Ukrainians have done in this war is they've revolutionized warfare with their drones. They're on the cutting edge of this, and this is going to shape future wars. Regrettably, we have to have wars because there are necessary wars, but this is going to reshape how both sides fight. And technology and AI is going to be the future.
Yeah, and they have so much experience at this point that they're teaching NATO's troops, they're teaching American troops, they're sending anti-drone technology to the Middle East against Iran. So Ukraine definitely has earned their place among the kind of powerful, influential nations of the world for sure. They've earned it through 4 years of sacrifice and war, but they're definitely, like you said, they've learned a lot, and they have a lot to teach us in the West. That's for sure.
Well, Owen Pataki, thank you so much for your efforts as someone who is a very big advocate for youth football. The regular football, youth football here in the United States going through kind of a crisis. A lot of parents not letting their kids play football. It's a very, very great character building sport. It's a big teamwork sport. There's a lot of positives for it, and the safety concerns about football are being addressed more and more every day. That's my little advertisement for youth football. But I'm glad you're doing this in Ukraine. Whatever we can do to spread the American truth, justice, and the American way overseas, if it has to be football, if it's entertainment, whatever it is, I think it's a great thing. So thank you so much for what you're doing there. And say hi to your dad for us. That's Owen Pataki, who's over in Ukraine, trying to promote American football over there. And boy, do they need a pastime there other than war. That's for sure.
Be safe and be well, Owen.
Right.
Owen,
thank you for having me.
Take care of yourself, my friend.
Take care, Owen.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?